I always knew that I wanted to ride a horse. I knew I had to try it. Like it was something that I always wanted to do. You know, you can kind of say it was on my bucket list. Definitely on my fear list. Uh, Riding a horse is something that's real sentimental to me. It means more than just getting on this animal, you know. It takes me back to my dad. It reminds me of my dad. My dad was an amazing man, died way too early in life. I think my dad, and I apologize, you might hear me get a little choked up, but my dad was in his early 50s. I mean like 50, 51 when when he passed away. It's going to be a tough one. My mom, she called me and my sister to come visit, and we went down there. Didn't really know why. Like, you know, we thought it was just we're gonna go down, visit the family, hang out. Both me and my sister lived about 3-4 hours away from where my mom and dad lived, and so we came down. It was fantastic. You know, we had a good time. It was one of those trips where you just kind of know something's up. Like it just felt a little off. So my mom and dad, they had to go to a doctor's appointment and they were going to get dinner afterwards. So I remember me and my sister were at home just relaxing. After a couple hours, they come back and it's crazy because you remember the weirdest things. Like I remember they had Popeyes, which is probably a reason why I don't like Popeyes now. No shade to Popeyes, but it's just a personal thing. They had Popeyes. They came through the door, and I could tell. I knew just from their face that something was wrong, and it was something that was going to change our family forever. I didn't know what it was, but I knew. You could just see the weight on both of them. They walked through the door, and in my dad's true fashion, he sits us down and he delivers the news. And I laugh. I kind of snicker because if you knew my dad, if you had the honor of knowing him, this is just kind of his thing. He said, went to go see the doctor. The doctor said I have cancer, and he said I have 6 months to live. When you hear news like that, like, I mean, it's exactly like you see on a movie. Like, literally every other sound and every other thing goes away. And it's almost like you're in this tunnel and you just hear that. I just remember me and my sister just being shocked. You know, we didn't know what to do. And yeah, I mean, I could still see it. I could still hear it, that moment in my head. So, long story short, well, I wish it was a long story. So me and my sister stayed the weekend with my parents, and little did we know we ended up taking our last family photos that weekend. We went back to our homes 3-4 hours away. Got a call on Tuesday. My mom said, you guys need to come home now. When you get a call like that, you know. So drove home, and basically a week after my dad was diagnosed with cancer, given a 6-month time limit left on his life, the week after he was diagnosed, he died. He died right in that house. He died I think I was the last person he spoke to before he died. We were laying in bed, and I just remember it was like I was a little boy again. I just cried. I cried on his chest. He cried, and I remember he just said, "Terron, I'm not ready to go. I don't want to go." And yeah, it was horrible. It was painful. Walked out the room. Oh no, before I did, my dad said, "Okay." And this was the weird thing. He said, he looked at me and he said, "All right, Terron, you gotta go." He said, "I gotta get ready. I gotta get ready." He just kept saying that, "I gotta get ready." I didn't even know what that meant. I don't know. I thought maybe he just was ready for bed or something like that. I really believe that he knew that this was it, but he said, "I gotta get ready." I said, "I love you, Dad." He said, "I love you, son." I walked down the hallway, sat down on the couch, and I heard my aunt scream. Ran in the room, and my dad, man, it was all the color, life left him. And it was horrible. It was traumatic. It was scary. But anyways, I say all that. I didn't even mean to say all that. It's just sometimes it comes out. But my dad always loved Westerns. He always, ever since I was a little kid, he always watched Westerns. And I thought it was so funny. Like, "Dad, what black man watches Westerns? Like, this is weird," right? But he loved it. And I never really took the time to sit down and watch one with him. I just thought it was a waste of time, not that interesting. But as I got older, after he passed away, I noticed that I started to enjoy the simplicity of Westerns and kind of the stories that they would tell. And what I really, really fell in love with was how brave the cowboys seemed at that time, the kind of bravado that they had. And it all started with them riding a horse. So every time I see a horse, it reminds me of my dad, right? That connection. So when I was presented with the opportunity to ride a horse, first thing that popped in my head was my dad. If my dad was here, he wouldn't even hesitate to hop on that horse. He would be there. You couldn't even get him off of that horse because he would just be in heaven, pretty much. So I knew I had to do it. I knew I did. And I know that my dad would be proud. I wish I could go back and just call him and say, "Dad, guess what? You'll never believe this. I just rode a horse. Your baby boy just rode a horse." But I just believe one day I'll be able to tell him that. But I know that he would have been proud. He would have been so proud. So I couldn't back down. I had to do it. It was scary because this is a big animal, right? This thing, and the crazy thing is this: as soon as we were about to get on the horse, we had to go through this lesson on how to ride the horse, the words to say. Whoa means stop, and how you get them going. And I don't know about you, but me, I don't really pay attention that well when instructions are given. I kind of zone out. I get it. I know a lot of my students are going to say, "What? How can you get mad at me?" I get it. I understand. Okay? So I wasn't paying attention at all when the lessons were happening. I mean, none. Okay? Get on the horse, and at that moment I realized, yep, I should have paid attention. I couldn't remember the words to say because horse language is different than our language. And I'm like, oh man, I think whoa, nay. And I start thinking of those Westerns, right? And the Westerns, you would always say, "Giddy up," right? So I giddy up, thinking that meant stop. That horse took off. Man, it was so funny, but so scary. I'm so glad I did it, though. It's something that I'll never forget. I can't wait to go back. I can't wait to take my kids and show them how to ride a horse. Next time, I'm ready. I'm like, hey, give me a lasso. Give me some, what other stuff the Cowboys, whatever they use, I'm ready because it was so much fun. It was a great experience. So all in all, to say I had to do it because I know that my father would be so proud of his boy. So proud of him. And instantly I was like, it was just a connection. It was one of those things where it made me, in my mind, I could see my father smiling. And I love that. It makes me happy. So, fearless to fearless. Peace. I love you, Dad.